on Fox Sports Radio 1400. My name is Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining me this afternoon as we get rolling along here. It's Thursday, closer and closer to games. That's pretty much what it boils down to. We are right there at it, man. We got Thursday night football tonight. In addition to that, we've also got what else? Oh, baseball today. Got the White Sox and Astros starting their series. I'm still a little angry with the whole White Sox. I mean, the Astros. The whole cheating thing still bothers me. So I'm kind of rooting for the White Sox a little bit here. Also, you've got what is it? The other series tonight is I've got to keep up with my baseball stuff. But yeah, all of that's there. You got baseball tonight, in addition to the Braves getting underway tomorrow. First pitch for the Braves and Brewers is at 4:37 tomorrow, something like that. Yeah. All right. So we'll keep you up to date on the baseball stuff, but I got to start with, we kind of talked about this a little bit yesterday and how Coach Ed Orgeron is probably in the mix to probably be looking for someone else. And you know what? I got to play you a snippet from the Ed Orgeron show. Now, this is a guy that is 8-7 since he won the national title. And I was thinking that, you know what? He won a national title. And you got to give him a little bit of a leeway there. But when you hear this call and how the way that he reacted to said call, it makes you wonder if Ed Orgeron thinks, you know what, maybe my time here is done. I don't know. But listen to this clip from Ed Orgeron from the Ed Orgeron show as I get it moving here. All right, so this is Ed Orgeron from his show last night. This is just silly. Here we go.
Hey, Coach, how's it going? All right, before I give my call about special teams, that's being embarrassing big brother real quick. My little sister is in attendance there tonight celebrating her 20th birthday. All right, happy birthday. Wish her a happy birthday. Hey, where you at? Happy 20th birthday. What's your name? Bebe. Bebe. Little Bebe, that's what we call it. All right, that sounds like a familiar name I know. What's up? Yeah. Happy birthday, Bebe. Where you at? All right, now she is a little blonde-headed girl, so try not to have sex with her. Come on, man. Oh, come on, man. Really?
Let's talk about Kentucky, Coach. Mark Stoops. Hey,
I'm going to say something right there. You know, down at the bayou, we got a nice little fishing hole for people like that.
let's get back to football.
All right, so here's the interesting part about that. That's from the Ed Orgeron show, and a caller basically set him up. Stuff like that happens all the time. I mean, you know, if you catch any of these college football coaches and their shows, especially if they're kind of on the hot seat a little bit, people are going to call and say things. So Ed Orgeron does that to a caller. And the part that the caller doing what they did, I don't think anyone cares. The part that got him, though, was at the very end. When Orgeron said, basically, yeah, there's, you know, we have a fishing hole for folks like that. And then there was almost that little bit of an uncomfortable silence there. And then all of a sudden, the folks that are there, which if you're going to the coach's show, you're probably a big, huge fan. They all, of course, clap and everybody's happy. Yay! But behind the scenes, there are a good bit of LSU folks from my social media feed and friends that I know that follow the program. They are not happy. Now, there's two sides to this. One, you can make the argument that maybe he wasn't supposed to say that. Okay? Maybe he wasn't supposed to say that. Was it really that bad of a statement? Hey, we just got a fishing hole for guys like you like that. Okay, well, all right. Maybe he's a little frustrated. Maybe that's the way that it goes. But maybe that's what you get with Coach Orgeron. these same LSU fans that were, some of them moaning and groaning about this, and that's not really a good look for the program. They, were happy when he was doing interviews on 60 Minutes, when the stuff came out, the pictures of him with the woman that was much younger than he was, that he's in bed with this woman. They were okay with that. They were okay with, the blank Alabama, this out recruit him, blah, 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 all of that. They were okay with that. Maybe that's just part of the charm of LSU. Just saying. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But you can look at it from this perspective. He is 8-7 since he won the national title. You could also give him a little bit. I think everybody kind of looked at last year as like, hey, it's a COVID year. I know people are sick of all that. But the reality is, it comes back down to this. Is it time for Ed Orgeron to go? And was this kind of the cherry on top of the cake? There are already people saying, folks like Joel Klatt, saying that he caught basically lightning in a bottle. Is that true? Is he the next Gene Chiswick? Rode a great quarterback to a national title, and now he's not worth anything. Billy Online says they sure as heck didn't mind when he was cussing Alabama. Yeah. I'm going to play this clip for you one more time. You can get the whole gist of the call. So check it out right now. This is Ed Orgeron last night on his call-in show.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
All right, Jim.
Before I get in my call about special teams, that's being embarrassing big brother real quick. My little sister is in attendance there tonight celebrating her 20th birthday.
All right. Happy birthday.
Wish her a happy birthday.
Hey, where you at? Happy 20th birthday. What's your name?
Bebe.
Bebe.
Little Bebe, that's what we call it.
All right. That sounds like a familiar name I know. What's up?
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Bebe. Where you at? All right.
Now she is a little blonde-headed girl, so try not to have sex with her. Come
on, man. Oh, come on, man.
Really? Let's talk about Kentucky, Coach. Mark Stoops.
Hey, let me say something right there. Down at the bayou, we got a nice little fishing hole for people like that.
Let's get back to football.
Hey, there were people there cheering him on. So apparently someone was happy with it. So is Ed Orgeron done at LSU? Or can he rally the troops? Folks online, Randall says he Forrest Gumped his way into that title. Okay. That's fair. But you can make an argument that LSU has had top-class recruiting. Their recruiting is right up there in the top 10. So he's getting good players to come there. Bible Belt says, I gained a little respect for Coach O. B-Red says, I think Coach O said the right thing. There is a section of folks that think that, okay, he was challenged by a caller. Why not go after him? Why not say that? Why not, say something silly like that? It's not like he dropped an F-bomb on him. He just point blank, we got a fishing hole for folks like you. Maybe he wanted to take him fishing. Who knows? Daniel says he's done, but LSU got what they needed out of him. Yeah, it's interesting. So we'll take in calls on that 803-978-1832. Is Orgeron done? Did he catch lightning in a bottle? Joel Klatt says now he lost two coordinators, Joe Brady and Dave Arenado. And Arenado took the job at Baylor. He's doing a nice job there. So he had to repool his staff. He hired guys that he had to fire the next year, including Bo Pelini. If you take, and I know this is not fair to do, but if you look at his record at LSU and you take that 15-0 out, it's not great. Randall says because he makes $58 million, because he makes $8 million a season, and no other coach in America would say something like that. I think other coaches might. I don't know. But we'll take your calls, 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. 183-2. Someone's asking, Captain Online is asking me to translate. He basically said, we have a place for guys like that caller, a fishing hole in the bayou for guys like that. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. Someone asked my opinion on South Carolina and Tennessee this weekend. The more and more I look at this game, I think that Tennessee is kind of overhyped a little bit because of what they did to Mizzou. I don't expect Hendon Hooker and the Tennessee running game to be as effective against South Carolina as they were against Mizzou. So there's that. In my opinion, I think that game is going to be really close this weekend. It wouldn't surprise me if the Gamecocks won. Really wouldn't. 803-978-1832. Also today, I mentioned Tennessee is overhyped a little bit. What about Kentucky? Mark Stoops says the Wildcats can play with anybody. Now, of course, they're ranked 16th in the latest AP Top 25, sitting at 5-0. They play LSU this weekend. Stoops said, why not us? When it came to the Wildcats competing at the highest level of college football, Kentucky also has Georgia the week right after LSU. Quote, why can it not be us? Sure, these teams we compete against are some of the most talented teams in the country. You know that. I don't know where the polls are right now, but I mean, heck, I guarantee you can put 3, 4, 5 teams in the SEC. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if you wanted to. Certainly Alabama and Georgia, the way they're playing. Look at the way Florida played Alabama. So we can play with anybody. We can't get ahead of ourselves either. This game will humble you. You have an opportunity to be humbled every 7 days. 803-978-1832 is Kentucky overhyped. When you watch Kentucky play, if you go back and you look at some of the games that they played, the South Carolina game, it didn't really look that good. The game with Mizzou, they looked good, but the offense looked good. They were moving the ball up and down the field against Mizzou there, but Mizzou's defense, we found out, is not very good. There's that. But is Kentucky one of the more overhyped teams in college football right now? Or do you have someone that may be a little bit higher ranked up that's up there? Someone was telling me today they think Oklahoma's overrated. I don't know. David Online says they can play with anyone in the country. They likely won't win against most good teams in the country, but they can get on the field. Good point, sir. Good point. B-Red likes Arkansas over Ole Miss this weekend, 32-24. 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you'd like to join us here on the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Of course, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. Is Coach O done at LSU? If he loses to Kentucky this weekend, will he get tarmacked? That's out there too. So we can get into that as well. 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you'd like to get involved with the Rundown this afternoon here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Of course, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. Vol Steak Online says LSU is down this year and Kentucky will brag. Okay. Caden says Clemson loses this weekend. Caden, once again, being one of the dumbest commenters. Clemson doesn't play this weekend. Brandon says he thinks Clemson is overrated. I don't think they should be second in receiving other votes. Well, fair enough. Clemson has not been impressive at all. You're absolutely right about that. B-Red says, no, he gets bait shopped. Fires getting minnows. Daniel says he thinks Tennessee is going to kill South Carolina. 11 is a lot of points. Randall says he's hearing that Luke Fickell is the next coach at LSU. And you know what? Let's talk about that for a minute. I think LSU is one of those top 10 jobs in the country as far as if you're a coach. you kind of want that job. You don't have to worry about funding. You're in the SEC West, so you're going to have good competition every year. You know, it's one of those jobs that is out there that you're going to, it's a high pressure job. They expect you to win, but you're going to have all the tools you need to do it. People want to come to LSU. It's not like what Shane Beamer took over at South Carolina. So I think that the big thing with this is that LSU could probably get who they want. It's not like they're going to most likely be turned down by somebody. If I'm Luke Fickell at Cincinnati, I'm looking around. It's like I could stay here at Cincinnati, or I can go and get into the SEC, go to a Power 5 conference. I could do that and probably get paid more money. And there just has to be a piece of him that says, you know what? Maybe I just got to see if I can do it. If I can get into the college football playoff and actually have a team that has a shot of winning it. He can have that at LSU. I'm not so sure he can get it at Cincinnati. But that's across the country with a lot of different coaches. PJ Fleck at Minnesota. Maybe he wants to move on from the Big Ten and go to the SEC. And of course, there's other names that are out there. But in the end, what it boils down to is that they're going to get a big coach from somewhere, because I think that's the way their athletic director wants to go. I doubt he hires an assistant. I really do. And then that's going to have a ripple effect across the country. Will he try to go big and get, say, maybe a Lane Kiffin? We'll see. But I think that statement there, just the end statement of we've got a place for, or a fishing hole for guys like you. We'll see. We'll see how that works out. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you'd like to join us here on The Rundown, right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400, of course, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. We'll take your calls. Is Kentucky overrated? Or is there a different team that you look at and think, you know what, they're really blown up there? Some folks are thinking it's Oklahoma. Of course, they play Texas this weekend. I think they're, a 5-point favorite in that matchup. Lots of folks are talking about, hey, maybe Texas can punch through there, pick up the win. We'll see. It's going to be a great Red River shootout coming up this weekend. All right, taking your calls when we come back at 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That's the number to call if you want to join us here on The Rundown. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. Yeah, Orgeron's a dope. Wow, Jerome. That's not nice, Jerome. B-Rad, can you explain to me the Andy Griffith song for the LSU folks? I don't get that reference. That's funny, though. Daniel, that's a very good point, sir. Good point. Good point. I get paid to do this there, Go Dogs. I do. So I'm actually pretty good at it. Fishing. That's funny. I want to go see it. I'm going to have to go catch a matinee because the wife is not into that. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Rob Sanders. Of course, we played for you the clip earlier of Coach Ed Orgeron basically telling a caller they had places for him, fish holes in the bayou for him. And maybe that's the stand of the thing that is kind of a mess out there when it comes down to it. What he said kind of threw things up. Anyway, I got another note on a coach here. Lane Kiffin. People remember his statement from the pregame. The big thing with that was where he said, "Hey, get your popcorn ready." And then Alabama commenced to beating the crap out of his team. Get your popcorn ready, he tells Jamie Erdahl, and then loses 42-21. So with that, Lane Kiffin tweeted out a big thank you to the fans of Alabama football because they sent him a bunch of popcorn. So with that, the popcorn comment got him. He got killed for going on fourth down he was talking about, but they basically, a bunch of Alabama fans sent him some popcorn. 803-978-1832. So much so that he had to tweet out about it. And then went from there. So you got coaches in the SEC that are saying some things. Lane Kiffin ends up being cute, and he gets a bunch of popcorn from the fans at Alabama. It's like a parting gift. Here, we're going to beat you senseless, and then on your way out, enjoy some popcorn. Have a great day. What a mess. And, of course, the stuff with Ed Orgeron. Is Ed Orgeron done? And Ed Orgeron's opponent this week, Coach Stoops at Kentucky. Is Kentucky overrated? Those are our three big things we have out there this afternoon. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to dial if you want to join us here on the Rundown this afternoon. Would Lane Kiffin take that job? We'll see. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. I did get a message on Twitter. They want me to play the call one more time. All right, I'll play this call for you one more time. It's Coach Ed Orgeron on his call-in show last night.
Hey, Coach, how's it going? All right, before I get my call about special teams, that's being embarrassing big brother real quick. My little sister is in attendance there tonight celebrating her 20th birthday.
All right, happy birthday.
Wish her a happy birthday.
Hey, where you at? Happy 20th birthday. What's your name?
Bebe.
Bebe.
Little Bebe, that's what we call it.
All right, that sounds like a familiar name I know. What's up?
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Bebe. Where you at? All
Yeah,
right.
now she is a little blonde-headed girl, so try not to have sex with her.
Come on, man. Oh, come on, man.
Really? Let's talk about Kentucky, Coach. Mark Stoops. He's
Hey,
been
let me say something right there. You know, down at the bayou, we got a nice little fishing cove for people like that.
let's get back to football.
All right, so people were clapping there at the end. There you go for the folks that asked me to play the call again. Okay, some comments from some folks online. Let's see here. Daniel says Kiffin is overrated, so overrated. You know, I think that Lane Kiffin has a great offensive mind, but I don't know in the end I think there's a section of Ole Miss fans that think, okay, he's going to come in and he may do really, really well for like 3 years, and then in 5 years, we're going to be on probation. It's kind of the way that it rolls. I don't know. We'll see. B Red says, Coach O is done coaching, but will have a great career on Swamp People. I think that would work. LSU, by the way, is a 1-point underdog on the road at Kentucky. Did you ever think, like in what was it, 2019, when Joe Burrow's standing there and smoking cigars and all of that stuff underneath the, where were they? I think they were in New Orleans. They're all smoking cigars and raising up the big national championship trophy. And, did you ever think that, basically 2 seasons later, Kentucky would be a 1-point favorite at home? I don't think so. So, yeah, the LSU program has slipped. It really has. And you can make an argument that it's COVID. You can make an argument that it's the loss of the coordinators. Either way, they have slipped a good bit. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832 is the number to call if you want to join us here on the rundown. Ballsteak Online says Kentucky is the worst undefeated team ever. Like in history ever? Okay. Interesting. All right, so let's look at, we're going to look at we'll go game by game on the SEC, and we'll give you some of those, some of the matchups there, and then we'll talk about the ACC games as well. Don't forget baseball today. You've got White Sox and Astros ALDS game 1, 4:07 this afternoon, followed by Red Sox and Rays tonight. Thursday night football, Rams and Seahawks. Also, Coastal Carolina playing football tonight against Arkansas State. They are a, 20-point favorite over Arkansas State on the road. Got some other games tonight, too. Well, one other game, Houston and Tulane. So you can get your college football fix regardless tonight. But let's look at the SEC games for this week. And I've got bubbles. I call them bubbles. Little things I write about each game. Arkansas and Ole Miss, 2 teams trying to bounce back from, you got to admit, blowout losses from last week. Ole Miss is a 5.5-point favorite. That game is at Ole Miss. Florida, a team that walked around, man, they were happy. Those Florida fans were happy, man. They played Alabama. They went tooth and nail with Alabama. What a moral victory that was. Yeah, how'd that work out for you? You go to Kentucky and lose. Hold Kentucky to 200 yards and lose. Second-ranked Georgia's on the road at Auburn. Georgia's a 15.5-point favorite. Georgia is the better football team, but got to go on the road. Winning on the road in the SEC can be tough. We'll see how that shakes out. North Texas and Mizzou. Mizzou's a 19-point favorite, even though their defense is terrible. North Texas 1-3 on the season. You've also got LSU and Kentucky, which we've talked about. Kentucky is now a 3.5-point favorite. Wow. 3.5-point favorite for Kentucky. And then Alabama is on the road at Texas A&M. Alabama's an 18-point favorite there. In addition to South Carolina and Tennessee at noon, Tennessee is a 10.5-point favorite. They were a 12-point favorite. So there's that. When I look at Tennessee, I think of their offense has gotten a lot better as Hayden Hooker has kind of settled down, meaning he hasn't had any turnovers in the past couple of games. Did turn the ball over, I think, twice in the Pittsburgh game. Had a turnover against Tennessee Tech, but that didn't matter. The Vols were winning by what? I think they won 56-0, something like that. But Hooker holding on to the ball and being kind of a dual threat kind of player. He ended up with like 305 total yards against Mizzou. If he has the capability to mix it up like that, that could cause South Carolina some problems. They have not had to really deal with a quarterback that can make plays with his feet as well. So it's going to be an interesting test there for Clayton White's defense. Playing against Georgia, they've got 5-star athletes all over the field, but this is a little bit different when you have to have that quarterback that can make plays with his feet. So, yeah, it's kind of what I got for the South Carolina-Tennessee game. All right, we'll take your calls this afternoon, 803-978-1832, 1832 if you'd like to join us on the show. We'll look at some of the top 25 matchups when we come back. Is Ed Orgeron done at LSU? Is Lane Kiffin heading that way? 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number here on the rundown. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. Holding on to the ball. Sorry about that, Jay. Holding on to the ball. I think that would be really good, but I don't know. I think that Georgia's defensive line would probably hold them in check. Not necessarily keep them from scoring, but they would keep it. I think it'd be close. That's a good point, too. They're sickened, and I agree with you, Tripp. Oh, I thought you were mocking me there, Go Dogs. I apologize. No, the way that I got my job with Fox Sports was I worked for our news talk station for a while, and I actually did news, and I can write news. Come on in. You got something for me? Come on in. 1 second. But no, I got into I wrote news and then I got an opportunity to cut some sportscasts, and they like that. And I do syndicated sportscasts that go across the state of the South Carolina. And then they asked me if I wanted to do a show. And yeah, Jerome's right. It's my dream job. Caden, I just pick at you, man. I can't help that you've got like a pulsating vagina. I can't help that. You get so upset. It's okay. Yeah, I don't know why they're not looking at Cristobal. That would make some sense. I would. I wear, like, when I'm at home, man, I wear just like a tank top. Tons of tank tops at the house. So I wear tank tops and shorts and all that at the house. So yeah, you're right about that. Yeah. I've had opportunities to go into other states and do shows. It's all right. I do play by play for baseball, and I've done football and basketball too, but I don't really like doing that stuff. I mean, I like doing baseball, but not necessarily the football. That's not really my thing. I do traffic reports. I can do that too. Yep. Do all that. Eight zero 1832 803-978-1832. That is the number to dial if you'd like to join us here on the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400, of course, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. Top 25 matchups this weekend. We'll roll through them really quick here. Coastal Carolina's at Arkansas State. Look, Coastal Carolina is becoming a machine down there in Conway. The bad boys of Conway down there with the mullets and everything else, using that innovative offense. Yeah, they're a pretty good football team. They're not like, let's slow down on the whole thing of we should play Alabama. No, but I think that if you look at Coastal, I realistically think they could compete with pretty much every team in the ACC right now. I'm serious. I think they are that good. Coastal should roll tonight. 22-point favorite over Arkansas State. Temple and Cincinnati. 5th-ranked Cincinnati plays tomorrow night. They're a 29-point favorite. Ho-hum. Arizona State is ranked 22nd in the country. They play Stanford tomorrow night. That is the 10:30 matchup for those that stay up late, if you want to watch that game. High noon tomorrow or on Saturday, Oklahoma and Texas. Oklahoma's now a 3-point favorite. We talked about that game earlier. Maryland is a 21-point underdog on the road at Ohio State. We'll see how that works out there. Ohio State's defense hasn't been what it normally is. Maryland got popped by, I think it was Iowa last week. Like 5 interceptions for their quarterback, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. Michigan State, the 11th ranked team in the country. They're, I would say, a quiet 5-0. But Michigan State plays at Rutgers. They're a 5.5-point favorite. Arkansas and Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a 5.5-point favorite at home. We've talked a little bit about that. Will Florida bounce back? They're a 39-point favorite at Vanderbilt. Wonder how long they're going to roll up the how much they're going to roll up the score on Vanderbilt. We'll see. Drew asked, could you see Coach O joining Coach Saban as an analyst coach at Alabama? This would definitely help Alabama with recruiting, not like they need any help. Well, Orgeron has been a guy that can recruit, but I don't know. He may end up being just a guy that goes and he's on Swamp People, like someone said earlier. I got to get, I think that was Daniel that said that made me laugh. Yeah, he's going to go on Swamp People. That'll be his next job. I don't know. We'll see where that goes. BYU, the 10th ranked team in the country, is a 6-point favorite over Boise State. That game's on Saturday at 3:30. Wake Forest is 5-0. They will play at Syracuse. They're a 6-point favorite there. SMU and Navy. SMU's a 13.5-point favorite. Number 3 Iowa. Number 4 Penn State, 1.5 points. Iowa's favored by. That game's at 4:00. Michigan and Nebraska at 7:30. Michigan's a 3.5-point favorite. Notre Dame and Virginia Tech, that is a pick 'em. Virginia Tech looking to bounce back from their loss, trying to get themselves squared away and back into the top 25 as Virginia Tech could, if they win the game over Notre Dame, then they've got a win over North Carolina at home and a win over Virginia Tech at home. A win over Notre Dame at home. That's a great season. I think that people would kind of let Justin Fuente breathe just a little bit. And finally, New Mexico and San Diego State. San Diego State is a 19.5-point favorite over New Mexico. Colby says Georgia will win 38-6. Wouldn't be surprised. Would not be surprised at all. JC says, I don't think there will be a lot of points scored in the Georgia-Auburn game. I got it like something 27-9 Georgia. Yeah, I think that's probably close. The only thing that can really stop Georgia here is Georgia. Seriously. If you really stop and think about it, if Georgia plays to their potential, they'll cover the 15-point spread. The only thing that can stop them is themselves. I don't think they're going to go on the road and think this is a game that they can take lightly, even though they've won 8 out of the last 10 in the series with Auburn. But if, they're 20-year-old kids, and that sounds kind of silly, but in the end, you don't know how they're going to react going on the road. Maybe Auburn will be jacked up. I don't know. We'll take your predictions online on the phones at 803-978-1832 tomorrow. Picks against the spread. Mr. Savage College Football will probably join us in here too. So Justin online says he likes Georgia 45-10. JC says, unless Georgia has a bunch of stupid penalties or turns the ball over or gives up points on special teams, then I guess it could be closer. And you're right. And that's exactly what I was putting out there earlier. The only thing stopping Georgia would be themselves. Are they going to have a game like they had last year with the Florida game, where they were the better team? They really were. I think if you just put those teams just on paper, you would take the Georgia team last year over Florida. That's why you got to go out and play the games, obviously. But I think that when you look at Auburn, they got 1 loss on the season. That was at Penn State, which is the number 4 team in the country. And they're coming at home. So that's one of the more intriguing matchups. But I still think that Georgia will run away with that game. I really do. 803-978-1832. JC says paper doesn't win you ball games. You're right. You're right. I agree with you on that front. 803-978-1832. I'm looking forward to that matchup tomorrow, and then the LSU Kentucky game, because we may be watching the end of Coach Orgeron's career. Basically, in what, a 19-month period, you go from the top of the college football world where everybody loves you. You're on 60 Minutes. I mean, everybody was loving Coach O. And they were talking about, hey, this guy just does it different. And his voice is awesome. Remember that? Now it's like, yeah, he's got to go. Kobe asked about soccer tonight. Yeah, the USA and Jamaica. I think I read something about that. I kind of get into soccer a little bit. If I got it, I watch international soccer. I can't watch like MLS and stuff like that. Though Charlotte's got a team now. My buddy Will Pelagic, friend of the program, he covers them up there. And he's big on that soccer stuff. So I might have to go up there with a game with Will so I can get a good feeling for that. So we'll see. I mean, I definitely get into international soccer. I wish we were better in the World Cup, but that's just the American side of me. It's really bad when you have when you go up there and you look at things like you see that the U.S. is basically a second-tier team when it comes to World Cup play. They're not going to be up there where, I don't know, pick your teams. Italy, Germany's really good. Brazil. Anyway, we can take calls on that too. 803-978-1832. We're going to look at some of the matchups in the ACC, kind of a small slate of games there. And we may look at the coaches' hot seat, other coaches that may be in the mix. Here on the rundown, this is Fox Sports Radio 1400. Someone asked about my food prep for today. Domino's is funny, their trip. No, for my weightlifting competition, I have to stay bulky. But I didn't prep today. I forgot to pick up my stuff, but I've got pulled, or actually it's pork I made in my crock pot, and I've got vegetables and rice. That's what I've got in my mix today. Hold on a second. Generally, I cook on Sundays, and then actually I cook early Sunday morning and then box it all up and put it in my refrigerator. Bulky's right. I finished first in the deadlift at SC States in August. Let's see here. The competition I did before that, I finished like 5th overall. You're probably right, Randall. I don't really like shrimp. I do eat chicken. I eat a bunch of chicken, but I did the pork this week to kind of change it up. Oh, really? Red, are you cutting for a competition? Like, yeah, I try to stay, I compete at 242. I walk around at like 252. And then I generally, about a month beforehand, I cut down. I doubt that, Brandon. For the SC States, I think there was 11 guys that competed. No, it's just a straight deadlift is what I did. I'm gonna do squat and bench press at the next one. No, I don't lift with Sean Smith. That's true, Kobe. I do remember that now. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining me today. Quick look at the ACC matchups this weekend. A very thin slate for the ACC. Georgia Tech's at Duke. Virginia plays at Louisville. Wake Forest is on the road at Syracuse. Florida State's at North Carolina. North Carolina, by the way, is a 17.5-point favorite there. Notre Dame's at Virginia Tech. So a bunch of the ACC is off this week. All right, some comments from the folks in the chat room here. Tripp says South Carolina won't score 4 times on Tennessee. Okay. Good point. JC says he's going to call Texas A&M and ask them if they could pay him half of what they paid Jimbo to be their head coach. You might do just as well. They are not a very good football team right now. All right, anyway, we'll take your calls at 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832 is the number to call if you'd like to join us here on the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Of course, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. Jimbo Fisher, is that a guy who's on the coach's hot seat? We shall see. I mean, this weekend he's probably going to get thumped again. I don't think he thought going in that he thought his team would be undefeated at this point, but yeah, not so much. Not so much. 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you'd like to join us this afternoon on the Rundown here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Of course, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. Shout out to the folks watching online today. Also, the folks responding on Twitter. I'm at Rob Sounds Good. Podcast listeners, appreciate you guys as well. The Braves start their NLDS tomorrow against the Brewers. Nobody's really giving the Braves a chance, to be honest. Yeah, it's kind of a tough road, but Atlanta's kind of they've kind of shocked some folks. They were near 500 in August and rallied to win the division. So we'll see how the Braves postseason goes as they start with the Milwaukee Brewers tomorrow. The 2 wild card games were pretty good. Of course, Boston advancing, and then last night, a 2-run shot late for the Dodgers. They win over the Cardinals. Cardinals were one of the hottest teams in baseball. They really, really were. And it wasn't working out. It didn't end up working out well for them. But, man, Adam Wainwright went out there. I think he's like 706 years old. But, yeah, he pitched pretty well. Game was 1-1 late. So we'll see how that works out. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. As we get you set up here for tomorrow. Remember, we have our picks. Did a segment with Teddy Hefner this morning. We were talking about the Clemson football team. And we were talking about what's it going to take for Clemson to get right. Lots of folks are pointing to DJ Uiagalelei. Yeah, I don't know if it's that. It's just the quarterback. I think that Clemson's got bigger issues than the quarterback. Clemson can't run the ball. That's a problem. They did balance it out a little bit against Boston College, but as far as being a fluid offense, yeah, not so much. They're not looking good at all. What can the Clemson offense do to get it right? We'll see. They've got time to work on it, so we'll see how they end up. 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you'd like to join us here this afternoon. Some of the other coaches on the hot seat. I think Ed Orgeron is right there. Some of the other names in a list that I saw earlier today, Jeff Scott at South Florida, they might give him his job back at Clemson. They might. Jeff Brom at Purdue, Scott Frost at Nebraska, Dino Babers, Manny Diaz at Miami, Mike Norvell at Florida State. All those guys are right there in the mix, according to this article that I had earlier. Maybe Butch Davis down at FIU. That would be interesting. I think some coaches were just meant to be coordinators. That may be the case with Jeff Scott. And JC is right about Jimbo. He calls him Jimbo Fish fraudster, but yeah, I think people are tired of hearing Jimbo Fisher's mouth. I really do. Dan Mullen. I think if Dan Mullen, it's kind of a wasted season for Florida, but we'll see how that works out for them. Bible Belt Beauty says he's sure Dabo would take Jeff Scott back. Yeah. Maybe that's part of what's missing. Who knows? You don't know what's going on up there in the coach's box, though. Someone was telling me last week, hey, you know what, Rob? It seemed like Trevor Lawrence, when he would go to the line, he would change the plays. He was reading the defense and changing the plays and making his own moves. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe not having Travis Etienne, the ultimate Swiss Army knife of a player. Maybe that has a little bit to do with it. How about not having Amari Rodgers, an actual slot receiver? Justin says, Rob, does South Carolina have a chance to win on Saturday? Yeah. By the way, if you go back to 2010, I looked these numbers up. South Carolina has 44 SEC wins since 2010. Tennessee has 29. South Carolina realistically has been a better program since 2010 than Tennessee has. Now, I understand Tennessee's a 10.5-point favorite this weekend, but the reality is that the idea that South Carolina can't go up there and win is far-fetched. With what Clayton White's been doing with the defense, the Gamecocks should be able to hang. This is not Georgia that South Carolina's playing. Yes, Tennessee beat Mizzou senseless, but that's Mizzou. That's not an upper-level SEC team. It's not. Tennessee is not an upper-level SEC team. Yeah, they look good against Mizzou and Tennessee Tech. Remember, they lost to Pittsburgh at home. What else do I need to say? This is a Pitt team that went the next week and lost to a directional school from Michigan. I mean, South Carolina can go in there and win. They really can. Tennessee's got scholarship issues too. What I mean by that is that they had the most players leave the program among all the Division I teams in the country. If all those guys leave, you're going to have some talent that's going to go out and about. I mean, South Carolina definitely has a chance tomorrow. 803-978-1832. Final segment of the rundown this afternoon. Tomorrow we'll give you the picks against the spread. I'm kind of giving it away. I'm taking South Carolina, and I'm taking the 10 points. I think the Gamecocks cover that. I really do. It's really not that far-fetched to think South Carolina can go up there and win. Tennessee hasn't shown where they're just this behemoth of a team. Mizzou quit in the second half. That's why the score got jacked up. It was like 28, I think it was 28-17, something like that, 28-10. And Mizzou basically just quit. So there's that. All right, tomorrow on the program, we will have our picks against the spread. Make sure you check us out for that. And we'll get you fully set up for the weekend of college football. Brandon says a road game at Pitt could be a tough game for Clemson. A road game at Pitt could be a tough game for anybody. But it's not like Pitt is a world beater either. All right, more of the rundown tomorrow. Thanks for checking us out. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. Appreciate y'all, man. Yeah, Tennessee was outstanding against Mizzou. See y'all tomorrow. Thank you so much.